I slammed the truck door so hard, the side mirror shook, kicking up dust under me boots as I glared at the shiny steel gate blocking my driveway. A heavy chain with a triple lock system held it shut like a fortress. This wasn't a military bite, was my land. My home, yet there stood Melissa Hardrove, president of the Homeowners Association, clipboard in hand, her smirk wide enough to rival the Gatit self I just rolled back from Anafrote rally in Nevada. Not even home 10 minutes and my blood was already boiling. She pointed to a laminated sign, the gate private HOA access, only this was the same road I'd paved with my own cash a decade ago, leading to my house migrage and, most importantly, Titan Myco-Stamilt monster truck. Melissa waved like she was at a canoe. Charity picnic, not staging a land grab. That's when it hit Modus. Wasn't just HOA nonsense, this was war, and she'd picked the wrong guy Tomses with. I stood there trying to wrap me head around the madness while I was out crushing cars and signing posters. In the desert, the HOA had held a snap votetto slap this gate across the access road. I alone had deed rights to locked out off me own property. I faced Melissa's smag confidence, her clipboard a weapon off bureaucratic tyranny when I demanded answers. She tapped her papers and claimed I'd violated HOA Rules Article 6, Section 3. Something about an unsightly industrial vehicle visible from the road. She meant Titan, a beast with tires taller than her SUV, and a paint job that screamed defiance. I'd built that truck from scratch, every bolt a testament. Tummy sweat. Melissa despised it, whining it tanked property values and disturbed her precious community tranquility. I tried reasoning, showing her my deed Maservier's map, proving the road was mine. She scoffed, threatening to fine me for trespassing if I touched her gate. Shackled it a beautification project to curb visual pollution. Her voice dripped with the arrogance of someone woothed they were untouchable, and in Hopolitics she probably was. I drove to Thega Station for cell service and Coletta County Assessor. They confirmed what I knew. Melissa and her HOA had no claim over my road or land, but legal action would take weeks, maybe months, and I'd be stuck in town, barred from my home. The sheriff's office was no help either, just an incident report and advice to resolve it civilly. I booked a motel room, sat on the lumpy mattress, and stared at this spiral. How had this spiral in a week? Melissa had always been a nuisance, ticking over mailbox colors or grass hate, but this was a new level of insanity. She'd once tried to make Mara paint my shed to match her community typelet. Despite my property buying outside HOA bounce, now she'd locked me out. A neighbor sent me screenshots of her HOA group chat, where she gloated, calling me a grease-stained gear head. Woe thought his circus truck made him king. She ended with, not anymore. Then next day, I returned, hoping to find assured of sanity among the HOA board. Notice Melissa lounged by the gate in a lawn chair, sipping iced tea, like she was Santa Resort. When I asked how long this would last, she said, until then neighborhood's dignity is restored. Elawed not because it was funny, but because the absurdity was choking me. Her lackey nodded along, including a guy would once find someone for unapproved ravel. I showed them my deed again. Melissa waved it off, saying her legal team would review it. What legal team? Their budget barely covered streetlights. She was bluffing banking. I'd folded, didn't I? Called Jake, an old army buddy turned land use lawyer. I sent him photos off the gate, my deed, and Melissa's signs. Called back livid. The gate wasn't just illegal, it was built on fraudulent easement claims, stamped with the HOA logo. Jake started drafting a complaint for the county, but warned it would take time. Meanwhile, I was still locked out that night. I visited my storage unit and flipped on the light. There stood Titanglorious and unyielding, a 4W Wheeled Rebellion. As I stared, an idea sparked. If Melissa thought a chain could stop mesh, didn't understand physics or Titan stork, I didn't act rashly. I spent days gathering evidence, trail cameras, CAUGHTHOA workers dumping soil on my driveway, and A neighbor's security footage showed them trespassing to beautify my land. Jake filed the paperwork and I prep tire. Moosh Hawks, fresh oil, perfect tire pressure. If the law failed, I'd make a statement. Melissa couldn't ignore. She I'd back down. Just a loner with a loud truck. She didn't know I'd faced worse than her in desserts, and Warzonistus was my backyard, and she'd started a fight. She couldn't win. 2 days later, in the county clerk's office while Jake on speakerphone dissected Melissa's lies. We had the plat map blown up showing the road is mine yet. I was still locked out playing by rules Melissa invented like a dictator in caucus. Jake said the complaint was filed, but hearings and inspections would drag in. Melissa, meanwhile, was milking her victory. A news van showed up, and there she was in a blazer. Preaching about community elegance and battling non-compliant structures, I parked downhill, resisting the urge to charge Ina. Crowd watched, some amused, some bored. Melissa painted me as the villain guy with the monster truck ruining Heritopia. She didn't expect me to step up mid-spec holding my deed and surveyor signature. Her face palled, but she kept talking. I told the camera the road was mine, built by me, and the gate was illegal. If you want your HOA tidy, I said keep it on your own land. That clip exploded online, racking up views and comments from across the country. People surred their own HOA nightmares. The tide was turning. Melissa hit back hard. 3 envelopes appeared on my motel door. HOA fines totaling $3,500 for aesthetic obstruction, ignorant communications, and my favorite, parking agricultural machinery Titan on unimproved terrain. They were baseless, mean to wear me down. I didn't budge. I bought a printer, turned out C.C. Andis's letters, and built a wall of evidence in my room. Maps, email screenshots. A neighbor, Tim, slipped me a flash drive with footage of HOA workers dumping fertilizer on my land. One saying Melissa wants this green for her picnic. Jake called it gold. Melisancing the legal news tightening when social. Her HOA newsletter branded me an outsider threatening property values. Butt cracks showed kids at the gas station asked about Titan 1, joking if I'd rammed gate like in a movie. I smiled. Depends how long it stays up. Jake brought good news. The county would send an inspector soon and was digging into a HOA finances. Melissa had mislabeled Thegot as emergency drainage to siphon funds, a move that could end her rain. But she kept pushing. I visited Titanme's hang her roar. She wasn't just a trucks, was my fight, my hours in the garage vivery race. 1. I prepped her for Battlia roof, camera, APA speaker, and a joking lead sign reading private property in first unit. Melissa Oblivia Shosted. A wine and cheese mixer by Thegot, toasting her reclamation. I watch it from afar, my drone recording her gloating, every word added to my case. The inspector was set for Saturday, so was it. Was ready, and Melissa was about to learn what happens when you cage a best-a-satured dawn like a showdown. I barely slept, my mind racing. At 5 o'clock a.m. I opened the storage unit, and Titan gleamed under the lights, a metal jaunt begging to roar. I fired her up the growl, shaking the lot cameras. Mounted speaker-tested systems, perfect. She was built to crush junkyards, not bow to padlocks. This wasn't about destruction, it was about truth. No HOA could steal my land under fake rules. At 7 a.m. I rolled toward Thepperporty, cresting the hill. I laughed at Mesa had doubled down to steel beams rind forced. The gate's 3 new padlocks gleaming. She stood there, latte in hand, caucus, crisp, smug as ever. Beside her was Greg, a wannabe cop in sunglasses and a community security badge. I stopped Titan, letting her engine rumble over the speaker. I said, this is private property. This gate is illegal. You have 60 seconds to clear out. Silence hit like a brick. Melissa blinked. Greg puffed up. Neighbors gathered like it was a prize fight. Melissa grabbed a megaphone. You're trespassing on HOA property. This is your final warning. I gave them 30 seconds. Greg tried blocking Titan, but one rev off's engine sent him scrambling. The crowd lauded. Melissa radioed for backup. There was none. I shifted into gear, and Titan moved the gate-groaned beams, bending padlocks snapping like toys. One flusky where the crowd gasped, another sparkitas. The bars crumpled. Melissa screamed, maybe curses, maybe bylaws. Tight surged, flattening the gate like tinfoil crushing HOA bushes beneath her treads. E hit the horn, a victory blast. Melissa froze eyes wide. Greg fled to his carnivores. Cheered phones filming. E climbed down, handed Melissa a packet. Complin County. Findings. Candace sheriff's coming, I said. Wait here. E drove Titan up my driveway, reclaiming me. Land my identity. The sheriff and Inspector Clara arrived. Clara smirked at Gates. Ruins asked questions and grilled Melissa, whose gestures screamed mead. The sheriff nodded at me. They crossed more than a line that night. Jake posted the footage. Ho! Locked me out. My monster truck had plans. It hit 500,000 views in a day. Then national news most cheered. Even truck had her scalded. Justice Melissa cried vandalism, but my paperwork buried her. A neighbor left a sign. Melissa's gate crushed by Titan rip. I laughed for the first time in weeks. By Monday, the gate's wreckage was a local legend. People snapped selfies with it, whispering about Melissa's silence. Her blind stage shoot her car unmoved. Clara's report. Nay led the HOA for zoning violations, naming Melissa. Jake filed for damages. Then Melissa resurfaced with a sneaky email. HOA restoration plan targeting my land with buffering foliage. Pink survey flags appeared on my property. I yanked them, taped them to her mailbox. Wrong. Proper dish wasn't done, but neither was I. E planned a barbecue on my land, legal and loud with Titan as the star. I got permits, invited everyone, even Melissa Sleaze and the sheriff. Neighbors brought kids, chairs, food. I drove Titan in a slow freedom lap around my property. Flag